to the place in the middle of the sun. And we'll sing this song, sing it one by one.
Hey guys, hope you're having a great day today. Thank you for tuning in. Today, I welcome Dr. Ann Buscho, and she is a clinical psychologist in Northern California, where she works primarily with families going through divorce, working to keep families out of court and to begin a healing process. She is the author of The Parent's Guide to Bird Nesting, a child-centered solution to co-parenting during separation and divorce. And today, Dr. Buscho and I talk about separation and divorce and how to navigate that with kids, particularly how to introduce a new partner and when to introduce a new partner to your kids if you've been separated or divorced. And this relates a lot to Sarah and I, and we've had to introduce new partners, each of us, to Stella, our daughter. And I'm always looking for ways to make sure we're doing it right and make sure that Stella is comfortable. I know if you guys are listening, going through similar situations, it's a bit nerve-wracking because you're trying to develop a new relationship with a new partner, and then you have your relationship with your kids, and you want both to go right. And then the new partner is having feelings about meeting the kids, and there's a lot going on. So Dr. Buscho and I get into just a bit of it. There's so much to talk about, and she blogs about it on her blog on Psychology Today. So lots of other topics are covered there. As always, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Enjoy today's show. Hi, Dr. Buscho. Thank you so much for joining me on the show today.
Hi, I'm happy to be here.
Today, we're going to talk about how and when to introduce a new partner after a divorce to your kids. And this relates to a lot of our listeners, I'm sure, and to Sarah and I. As our listeners know, Sarah and I are divorced now for over a year, and we've done a few shows about navigating divorce, but never anything like this and as it pertains to kids. And I'm definitely interested. So why don't we start by having you tell us why this is an important thing for a divorced couple to navigate, and then we'll talk about the details of how and when to do it with the kids.
Oh, sure. So it's an important topic to discuss when going through a divorce. Parents should create a pretty good parenting plan during the divorce process. At minimum, that parenting plan is a schedule, but I often include a lot more in that parenting plan, and that would include things like when and how to introduce a new partner. A divorce is a life crisis for parents. It's a tumultuous event for children, and the family being restructured takes some time for the children to adjust to. And bringing a new person in is another big, huge, tumultuous event for everyone, but particularly for children.
So, just for context for our listeners, Sarah and I's daughter, Stella, she's currently almost 7. And when Sarah and I got divorced or first told her, actually, we had gotten separated before, but we first told her she was just 5. And I think obviously the age of a kid makes a huge difference for everything we're talking about. But she transitioned, so far very well. And I think being 5, she's not understanding a whole lot that's going on. Obviously, she did know that a lot was changing, and it did break my heart to have to tell her. And, she'll still say some things like, why don't we all live together anymore? But it's rare and not often. And the same can be said for when Sarah and I have introduced new partners, and it hasn't happened a lot, and I think only officially once from each of us. But again, Stella being so young, it kind of has felt pretty seamless. So what are the things that we could make sure we're thinking about when we're, let's say, talking to Stella about new partners? But then I'd like you to also address the importance of recognizing how kids at different ages are going to react.
Sure, sure. Well, there's a lot in that question.
I know. Sorry, it was a lot.
That's okay. First of all, it sounds like you're doing a really nice co-parenting job with Stella, that you are both obviously involved with her, attached to her, and she feels safe and secure with both of you. So that's excellent. After a divorce, that isn't always so easy. And especially if kids are seeing less of one of you, if you're sharing your parenting time, they may be seeing less of one of you than they were before. So she seems to be adjusting nicely to that. So congratulations on that. In terms of introducing a new partner, the reason I wrote the piece and the reason I caution people is that your children are very attached to you, and that attachment is really important because it teaches kids about relationships for the rest of their lives. And when you bring a new relationship in, if that relationship doesn't go well and it ends, your kids lose another attachment. And for some people, it could be one attachment after another. Just to share a little bit about my story, my ex-husband had 10 girlfriends after he and I separated. And many of them actually moved right into the house, and then the relationships ended. And it was really, really hard for my kids. I had 3 kids, and on the time that they were with him, they really struggled with these sort of one loss after another. Some of them they were quite attached to, and others not so much. But I do think it's had a lifelong impact. My kids are now in their 30s and 40s. So I've been watching this evolve over time. So it's that question of serial losses, one loss after another. So my bias is that when you introduce a child to someone new, that you are pretty sure as it's possible to be, that this person isn't going to go away. And there are a lot of reasons. It's not just protecting your kids, but if they're not in a good place when you introduce them, or if they've suffered other losses, then they will sabotage your relationship. They will turn against the person you're introducing her to. They can do, when my dad introduced my sister and me to a new girlfriend, my sister went in the bathroom and painted honey on the toilet seat. She was like 7 years old. That was her way of expressing that she didn't want somebody else in our dad's life. She felt threatened and jealous, and it wasn't a good thing. So maybe that kind of answers your question a little bit.
Yeah, I'm wondering if, let's say someone is dating and they're not super serious, but they like the person. Is it ever appropriate, or what's your feeling as far as just introducing the person, not like, hey, this is my girlfriend, but it's like, hey, this is daddy's friend, and it's super informal in a sense, and it's not, hey, this person's moving in. And what are your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, I think kids are pretty perceptive. So even though they may not put it into words, I think they can tell energetically the difference between how you feel about a friend and how you feel about somebody you're romantically involved with. So I wouldn't put it past even a 5-year-old to at least pick that up energetically. I think when you are sharing parenting time, it's pretty important to focus on your kids during the time that they're with you, and that there's plenty of time when they're not with you, I think, to have a private life, a personal life. I think it's really important that you're able to do that. And it's one of the sort of benefits of having off-duty time, is being able to develop a new relationship. It happens all the time that kids already know the person that a parent may be involved with. It could be the soccer coach or the parent of a friend, or a teacher even. I've seen this happen before where kids already know the person. And even then, I think it's important to keep some distance so that your kids don't get overly attached to someone before the relationship is really rock solid.
So it seems that the recommendation is to really keep that separate your, let's say new romantic life in your kids until you feel this person is you say rock solid, like basically you're going to be in a long-term relationship with this person.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Because, you're modeling relationships to your children. I mean, parents are all modeling relationships to their children. So if you are in one relationship after another, that's what your kids are learning. That's their model. And what you want is for your kids in their future relationships to feel safe and secure and solid in a long-term relationship, that's what you have to show them. That is where this is partly coming from.
Let's talk about how to tell our kids. So we have someone who we envision ourselves being with long term. How do we approach our kids with the idea and then the introduction of this new partner?
It's such an important question, because I think the thing that people don't always do that's really important is tell your ex first. Tell your ex that you're going to be introducing your kids to your new partner, so that they're not blindsided when kids come to the other parent and say, guess what? Daddy told us about his new girlfriend, or we met daddy's new girlfriend, or mommy's new boyfriend, or whatever. You don't want your ex to be blindsided. And the reason is your kids will pick that up and it will feel terrible to them, because they'll see their other parents' reaction, whether it's shock or anger or sadness, grief. It could be any number of reactions. So it's just respectful to tell your ex first. And then when you start the introduction, I would start by telling your children that you've been dating, you have a serious, you'd like them to meet someone that you really like, and be very observant of your children's reactions every step of the way. So they may be curious, they may want to know more, answer questions, but at the same time, your ex can be monitoring their reactions as well, the children's reactions. And then start with a short introduction outside the home in a neutral place. Like when I did it with my current husband, we introduced my kids to him in an ice cream parlor. So I always say, try that. That's a great place to take kids. They always love ice cream. And have a short introduction there with no physical affection. No, I would be very careful monitoring, for example, sitting with your kids as opposed to sitting with your new relationship. Because your kids will easily feel jealous or threatened. And if you go slow, the next meeting might also be in a park or some other public place. And then the next get together might be at the home for a meal. But if you go slow and really watch how your kids are reacting, you'll be able to tell when your kids like this new person, which is, of course, what you hope for. I think of it as levels of intimacy. So meeting someone in an ice cream parlor is a whole lot less intimate than, let's say, brushing your child's hair or tucking them into bed. And those are kind of extremes. But having a new relationship over for lunch is less intimate than having them over for dinner and cuddling on the couch for a movie. So you can see that taking it slow in lower levels of intimacy, step by step over some time, will help your kids adjust and give you the time to see how do they get along, how does your new relationship get along with your kids, and vice versa, and how are they adjusting before you start having overnights, before this person starts staying over. I can tell you, I had a case once with a divorce where the woman moved out of her home with her husband into the home of her new relationship with the children. And that person also had children. So overnight, there were 5 children in the house and 2 people who the kids had never seen together before in the same bed. And it caused, major trauma for everyone. And that is what you want to avoid. You want to avoid doing it so quickly that your kids have no time at all to adjust.
So we're checking in with the kids, and let's say the kids are acting out. They're not happy about the new situation and they're showing it. What are some ways and things that we can talk with the kids in order to make sure that they feel safe and still be able to develop a new relationship?
Sure. So first of all, talking to them, how are you doing? How do you like this person? What do you not like if you see your kids are acting out? And for example, I used this example in the blog that I wrote in Psychology Today. If the new relationship has sort of unconsciously, unwittingly taken over that child's seat at the dinner table, right? This could be extremely upsetting to a child. But if your child can talk to you and tell you that their feelings are hurt because they used to sit next to daddy and now the girlfriend is sitting next to daddy, and that's upsetting. If there's that kind of communication, that is ideal. Sometimes it's the ex that will hear it. The other parent will hear that. And that's why it's so important to keep communication open between the two biological parents, so that if the kids are sharing their feelings with the other parent, that can get conveyed. If things are extremely difficult and kids are acting out and they're not willing to talk about it, then counseling is obviously always an option, family counseling. Sometimes with kids that are slightly older, like adolescents, they may have a harder time accepting someone, and they just may show it by staying in their room with the door closed, avoiding the family dinner table and so on. And if they are unwilling to open up and talk about it, then I would say perhaps some family counseling would be in order.
And what are some of the things that go on in family counseling?
Well, that would be up to the clinician to decide how to structure it. So it could be, when I worked with families and children, I would first want to hear from the children, then I would want to meet with the parents. I'd want to get a sense of what the situation is, what the problem is. Depending on the age of the child, I might just want to meet with the parents. I think when a child is acting out, it's very often something that I need to work with the parents around. And sometimes it's a family session, which would mean bringing everyone together and clearing the air. Brainstorming solutions, finding some ways to strengthen the connection, focusing on strengthening the relationships.
Before we continue on, we're going to take a short break to tell you about our sponsors. Spring is here and it is time for some spring cleaning. And yes, that does apply to your special drawer as well. If you were to open your sexy drawer, what would you find? A toy that is barely buzzing, or some old lube? This spring, why not gift yourself a brand new set of sexy essentials from Like a Kitten? Like a Kitten offers subscription gift boxes, so each season you'll receive a new shipment right to your door with all the ingredients to spice up your sex life. Their spring box will bring renewal and awakening and tickle your senses with treats like strawberry nipple arousal cream, cheeky apple lube, and melting rose petals for the bath. The people at Like a Kitten are expert curators, and they select beautiful pleasure products. This spring, you'll receive a pink glass dildo, flowered glass Kegel balls, and even a mini flower pot with seeds for daisies, sunflowers, and roses. I love how Like a Kitten boxes think through everything. Obviously, great and fun toys and lubes, but they also go the extra mile and know how to set the mood with candles, bath goodies, and massage oils too. This spring subscription box is priced at $79, which is a great deal since the products in this box retail for well over $150. And something really sweet about Like a Kitten is that a portion of the sales goes to charities to empower women and support their education and health. To celebrate spring, Like a Kitten is offering our listeners 15% off and free shipping when you go to likeakitten.com/I do or enter the code IDO at checkout. Just go to likeakitten.com/I do or use the code IDO to get 15% off these incredible boxes. Likeakitten.com/I do. The link is in the episode description.
Good hygiene and cleanliness are a major turn on for me and for most women, and can even be a deal breaker for some. And so when I heard Manscaped wanted to sponsor the show, I was thrilled to be able to share with all the ladies of the show how they can help out their man with these grooming needs. Manscaped offers precision engineered tools for your man's family jewels, and they recently launched the ultimate hygiene bundle for the man of your life, the Performance Package. The Performance Package 4.0 by Manscaped is everything your man needs for his grooming needs. And I mean everything. Listen to what is inside this package. First is the Lawnmower 4.0. This is the trimmer of the future. Its cutting-edge ceramic blade reduces grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. It's waterproof and also has a 400K LED spotlight for a more precise shave. The Performance Package 4.0 also includes an ear hair trimmer and the Weed Whacker nose, which is waterproof and provides proprietary skin-safe technology, which helps reduce nicks, snags, and tugs on those delicate places. Next, we have their Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant and Crop Reviver Ball Toner. It is the hygiene routine that he needs down there. It's like our facial skincare routine, but for his goodies. Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts to their Performance Package 4.0, the Manscaped Boxers and the Shed Travel Bag to hold all of his new grooming utensils. It's time to take care of the men you love and go to manscaped.com. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code IDO at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at Manscaped, manscaped.com, and use the code IDO. Unlock his confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. If you have a pet, you know how much they are a part of your family. There's nothing that compares to coming home to a wiggly little butt or waking up to soft little purrs. And just like any family member, we want to keep our pets healthy and make them as happy as they make us. Fuzzy gets that 100%, and they're here to help you make sure of it. Fuzzy is a telehealth service for pet parents that offers 24/7 access to personalized pet care from veterinarian professionals. From everyday questions to the middle of the night emergencies, Fuzzy has answers pet parents need. Through live chat and virtual vet consultations available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, Fuzzy can answer your pet questions, big and small, urgent, and every day. I wish I had known about Fuzzy last year when our cat Lulu got stung by something. It was late at night, our emergency vet was not answering, and it was pretty scary for the whole family to feel helpless for Lulu. Thankfully, in the end, she made it through the night and everything was okay, but that experience really stuck with me. After that, I was really thankful to find Fuzzy services. Plus, Fuzzy can also recommend the exact right products for your pet, all of which are handpicked by their established team of veterinarian professionals and available at discounts exclusive to Fuzzy members. From getting your pet's diet just right, to meeting their middle-of-the-night needs, to finally figuring out what makes their breath smell that way, nothing is too big or too small for a quick Fuzzy call. Right now, Fuzzy's offering our listeners a free 7-day trial. Go to yourfuzzy.com/IDO to sign up. That's a free 7-day trial and access to exclusive member discounts on pet meds, supplements, food, and more at yourfuzzy, yourfuzzy.com/IDO. Again, yourfuzzy.com/IDO for your free trial of Fuzzy with access to 24/7 personalized pet care and vet recommended products.
What are some other major hurdles? I mentioned earlier in the show, Stella, she'll ask, it hasn't happened in a while, it wasn't often, but, why mommy and daddy don't live together anymore. Or she'll say, like, I want you to live at mommy's house a handful of times. And I'll just explain to her as formally as I can, treat her like an adult, not like a little baby, and say, mommy and daddy are friends now, and we were married and we still love each other, but we don't live together anymore. And I don't know how that registers with her. It seems, I think it's still a bit above a 6-year-old's, full comprehension. But yeah, could you maybe give some guidance there?
Sure. First of all, kids can get confused really easily. So sometimes kids whose parents get along really well, and they do family dinners and sometimes even go on vacations together, or and say they still love each other, then it's really confusing to kids. Because if I've had children say to me, if mom and dad get along so well, why aren't they still married? So I think that's it's sort of a good and a bad thing, because obviously it's great for them to see you getting along well. But at the same time, I think the confusion needs to be addressed. One of the things that you can say to a 5-year-old is sometimes mommies and daddies don't live together. And that's just simply a statement of fact. Sometimes mommies and daddies don't live together. And then if she is sad, is to say, we see that this makes you sad. You maybe miss the times when we did live together, but now we don't. And so let her have her feelings. Her feelings are fine. And I think that even young children never really let go of that deep longing for the family to be together. They can certainly adjust and accept it, but I think on some level there's always that deep longing that they be together. So I would validate that and say, I hear that you wish we were still living in the same house, but sometimes mommies and daddies don't. And we're still friends, and that's a good thing. But we don't live together. So I think you're saying a lot of the right thing. I think that just the we still love each other can sometimes be a little confusing for kids.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I don't emphasize that. And I don't think she's too confused, but I can definitely see how that could happen. And on that note, Sarah and I occasionally will get together and have a meal. Actually, this past Sunday, we all had lunch together. It just worked out that way. I was hanging out with Stella, said, hey, why don't you meet us? Yeah, and it was nice. And I don't think, I'm just trying to pay attention to Stella and what she says. I don't think that's confusing to her. What are your thoughts on things like that?
I think if she's not confused, it's a gift for her to see you get along so well. I think if she's not confused by it, if you're relaxed, you and Sarah are relaxed together, then she's going to be relaxed about it. Sometimes parents feel like this is something they should do. They should have family dinners or whatever, but the tension between them is picked up by the kids, and that's when it's not such a good idea. If your kids are not picking up tension, then you're really giving them a gift, showing them that you can be together and not be arguing or not have stress.
So going back to introducing a new partner and moving forward with that, if we have kids who they're not comfortable, they're voicing their displeasure, or they're just acting out through their behavior, and we're taking it slow, we're trying to be cognizant of how they're doing, is there a point where we have to talk to the kids and just kind of say, well, this is how it is? And obviously it could be more detailed than that, but just kind of like, sorry you don't like this, but this is my new partner, and acknowledging their feelings, but just kind of moving forward for what feels best for us individually. Because I can see situations, especially maybe with older kids, where they just are acting out and just really refusing to accept a new partner.
Yeah, it happens. And it is an important question, because you should not have to give up a relationship because your kids don't like the person. But if it does come to that where your kids are rejecting your new relationship, it should be dealt with in a deeper way, because it will impact their relationship with you, the parent. So I think that's where talking to the new relationship, the new person that you love and is going to be in your life, about how can you work this out. And again, that's where family counseling can be helpful. So I can talk about a family I know where the stepmother, the children have just never been able to get along with the stepmother. And it's because the stepmother really crosses boundaries. And if in this situation, the stepmother is able to go to counseling with her new partner, with the biological father, and go to counseling and talk about establishing some clear boundaries and doing some repair in her relationship with the adolescent kids, that can help. Ultimately, your kids may never accept a new partner, and that's just sad. I think it's a new stepmother, a new step-parent can be a really wonderful thing for kids if it's a good relationship. So it's worth working on. But that person, this is a whole new adult in their children's lives, that person needs to be willing to do the work to establish the relationship. And the ex needs to support it. Sometimes that's a contributing factor, that the ex is undermining the relationship because there's a loyalty test going on or something. So yes, at some point you do say to your kids, look, this person is in my life and she's not going anywhere. And so we need to figure out how to make it work. And depending on the situation, it may mean working with the ex, it may mean working with the step-parent, it may mean some family counseling. There's a reason kids reject a new person. It's not just, kids don't just do it. I mean, there's always an underlying reason or more than one reason that this is happening, and that's what needs to be addressed.
I'm also a child of divorced parents, and so having that perspective, I feel, has been valuable in how I approach things with Stella, how Sarah and I approach things. And yeah, I love my parents, and I think they've done a great job. I'm not trying to take a shot at them, but I was never kind of sat down with my brother and sister and talked to of like, hey, this is, or at least I can't remember. I don't think it was anything that formal, but hey, this is a new partner. This is what's happening. Kind of, this is what's going on. And now it feels like that would have felt a lot better, because I definitely had trouble accepting my parents' partners, because it felt like, oh, here's this new person. Now they're in my parents' life, and now they're in my life. And to be fair, I think it wasn't that blunt. But I think really sitting the kid down, like preparing them, like you said, even counseling is probably valuable preemptively to help kids express their feelings around everything. It doesn't need to be just if there's conflict or trouble accepting a new partner. Maybe even before the new partner is introduced, that could be valuable.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree. And for years to come, because when Stella's in her 20s, she's going to have a whole different take on your divorce, and she may want to talk about it.
Yeah. And that's, from Sarah and I's perspective now, it's been very easy. Stella's an easy kid, but she was also 5, and now she's almost 7, and she has, a few questions, but it's really a huge non-issue, at least from Stella voicing it. And we try to ask her how she's feeling, definitely to express herself, and she is. But I imagine as she grows older, like all things, her feelings around it will change, and there would be new things to navigate.
The way I look at it is kids develop a story about their parents' divorce, about their family. They have a story. You have a narrative about your parents' divorce and your childhood. And Stella and all kids develop a narrative as they grow up about their family. And that as parents, we shape that narrative to some degree. And a lot of it is unconscious, how we shape it. And a lot of it, we don't even know what we're doing that is helping to shape that child's narrative. But when they're sitting around with their friends in their 20s and 30s talking about their family, that story is the story that's being constructed now as they grow up. So I think that's something to think about as we make decisions about our kids and as we bring new people into their lives. How is this story going to develop for our kids?
Well, Dr. Bosch, I think we covered a lot of great things to think about, certainly personally and for our listeners. Before we wrap up, are there any things that maybe we skipped over or we didn't talk about that are really important for divorced parents to be aware of? And then we'll wrap up and say goodbye.
Sure. Well, there's so much. I've just written my 85th article for Psychology Today, and I keep thinking I'm going to run out of things to say. I mean, there's so much to talk about how to have a good divorce. And so I would encourage your listeners, if they want to learn more about it, to search for my blog on Psychology Today. My last name is Buscho, Buscho, and it's called A Better Divorce on Psychology Today. And I think a lot of their questions will be answered there.
Excellent. Well, we'll have the links in our show notes and on our website at idopodcast.com. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Well, thank you for having me, and good luck with Stella. It sounds like you and Sarah are doing a lovely co-parenting job.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much for tuning into today's episode. As always, all the links to the guest, as well as any of their recommendations, will be in the show notes page. You can find the link to that in the episode description or by going to idopodcast.com. Click on the podcast tab up at the top, and you will have access to all the episodes that we've ever done. There are over 300 of them. And while you're on our website, if you haven't checked out our free 14-day Happy Couple Challenge, we really hope you do. It's a free email challenge that we send to you. It's 14 days of fun, easy, doable challenges to help strengthen and improve your relationship. And if you're looking for something that provides a little more help with working on your relationship, whether it's improving intimacy or communication with your partner, or just bringing the spark back, we would love for you guys to check out our online course, Spark My Relationship. We're offering $100 off to all of our listeners if you go to sparkmyrelationship.com/unlock. We've worked with over 15 psychologists and therapists to create the real life tools and strategies that they are teaching their clients. So we wanted to give them to you. It's a self-paced online course that can be done in as little as a month or up to 3 months. You can really decide how much or how little you want to do with your partner, or maybe just yourself. So we hope you guys check that out. It's sparkmyrelationship.com/unlock. Have a great day.